The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Shawn Smoke, Kevin Price, and Robbie Ross. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with eXp Realty.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Hey sports fans, my name is Evan Smoke and I'm here with your scores recap for August 18th, 2023. Starting out, the defending 5A state champs got more than they bargained for as the Appleton County Pirates made their way over to Memorial Stadium and took the Ware County Gators to the brink. Ware's defense had a scoop and score which wound up being the difference in the entire game. Look out 2A, Appleton appears to be pretty stout this season. As we go down to 1A Division 1, Bacon County falls to Lanier 17-7. Bradwell puts up some points, but Wayne still wins comfortably 49-20. Coach Jeff Cannon and the Herons spent all offseason working towards the goal of returning to the postseason after breaking a 3-year streak of playoff visits last fall. In the 2023 opener, Brantley throttles the Rebels 46-14. Atkinson is once again looking for a rough season. The Brunswick County Pirates were off this week, and as they start their season this upcoming Friday. Columbia traveled to Camden County this past Friday to lose 23-12. Wildcats start off once again 1-0. Jeff Davis avenges last year's loss in the season opener as Jeff Davis defeats Troughton County on the road this year 23-20. A welcome change from the 2022 season the Yellow Jackets fans might want to forget. Clinch defeated Berrien 35-14, and Coffee defeated Tiff County 38-13. Matt Lizott's improved team showed flashes of their potential to make noise in 7A this fall, as the Heel defeated Effingham County's young and inexperienced team 34-7. Frederica wins a shootout over Brookwood Private School 56-41. Over in Statesboro, the Matt Dobson era didn't start off in the best fashion, as Statesboro was blanked 21-0 by Glen Academy. A crosstown rival, Southeast Bullock, did the same thing to Liberty County, 21-0 defeat in the favor of the Gators of Southeast Bullock. McIntosh County Academy defeated Johnson of Savannah 26-0. Toombs and Long County had a great matchup this past Friday, where Toombs etched out Long County 29-22. Your Pierce County Bears was also open this past weekend. Them and Brunswick will both have Week 1 matchups this upcoming Friday. And our last game to recap, Vidalia wins a defensive and low-scoring game as they defeated the South Effingham Mustangs 8-7. Lauren Purvis is defeated in his head coaching debut. That's all we got for this week, folks. Pay attention for next week on 912 Sports On Air.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, and joined as always by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing?
Good, Sean. Good to be back talking high school football. Week 2, some more exciting games on the docket as we continue on after getting Week 1 out of the way. So we'll see what happens this week. An interesting first week for sure.
Yeah, definitely, Kevin. And let's dive right into it. We're going to divide it up into 3 segments here. But we're going to start off with Aiken, South Carolina, going over to Appleton County. This will be Appleton's home opener. Appleton put up a valiant fight against the Ware County Gators this past Friday night. Probably, play here, play there. Kevin could have walked away with a victory, but still come up on the short end, 20-17. But listen, all's not lost in Powerland. That team's going to be tough all the way through their 2A schedule. So look for big things out of Appleton. Moving on, we got Bacon at Scriven County. Bacon loses their first game, Kevin, 17-7 to Lanier. That was a game I thought Bacon might be able to get a victory. Didn't happen for them. But the first game we're going to talk about tonight is Bradwell versus Liberty. And I believe, Kevin, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is called the Commissioner's Cup or Commander's Cup or something like that. But this is one of them old town rivalries that you've been a part of, that back in the day we were a part of here in Waycross. You got these schools, I'm going to guess, Kevin, what are they, 4 miles apart, 3 miles apart? It's not very much difference between them. These kids know each other. They've grown up their whole lives playing rec ball together. Now one of them's going to, Bradwell Institute, one of them's going to Liberty, all living in the same town. So it's going to make for a great Friday night. And to be honest with you, Kevin, both of these teams need a victory because they both lost in Week 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those backyard brawls where you can throw out the records, but not really a whole lot to throw out at this point with it just being game 2. And, both of these teams are going to go at it. Coming off the loss, as you mentioned, of course, Bradwell with a tough opening assignment on the road in Jessup against Wayne County, really good football team in Class 4A. And then Southeast Bullock, beat Liberty in the opening game. That game was 21-0, but I think Southeast Bullock is pretty tough. I'm just surprised Liberty did not put any points on the board. But, Sean, when you look at this game, Liberty won this game 49-20 last year, and 32-12 last year, and they've actually won 5 in a row. And then I think 5, maybe out of those 5, only 1 have been really close. And so 6, I think, in looking at the history, would be the longest win streak for Liberty if they could get it done. But then I think the longest streak in the series history is 7 straight games. And that was by Bradwell when they first started this series in the mid-'90s. Of course, that's when Liberty County came into existence. But Jim Walsh Jr., the coach at Bradwell back in those days. But I would expect a classic matchup between these teams, probably close all the way. And again, both teams hungry for that first taste of victory here in 2023.
Yeah, Bradwell lost to Wayne 49-20, Kevin, but looked good in that game at times. I thought that they had an opportunity. Yeah, I didn't think they were going to beat Wayne, but I thought they had an opportunity to keep that game a little bit closer than it was. Of course, our guy Matthew Fuller just went off like a bandit over there and scored 4 touchdowns on the night. But so Bradwell, I think, is working with a little bit more than they've had in the past. Liberty might be down a little bit compared to what they were last year. I mean, they were a second-round playoff team last year, so we'll see which one of these guys come out on the big end. But should be a good one over there in Hinesville this Friday night, and that game is at Liberty, so Liberty's going to be the home team this week. But we'll move on. We got Groves at Brantley. Kevin, we talked about it last week. I'm not putting that cart in front of the horse, but here Brantley goes off, scores 46 points, Kevin. That's a lot of points for the Herons. Like I said, now they got Groves coming into Caney Bay there. I look for Brantley to be 2-0 after Friday night, so we'll see what happens. And then we get to the big game that everybody's got circled here in the 912 at least, Kevin. Brunswick at Camden County. I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit shocked at what went on at Chris Gilman Stadium this past Friday night. Camden did come out winners in that game. They were up on top 23-12, but I mean, I kind of was expecting a blowout. I was expecting a couple of blowouts that didn't happen. And it might be first game jitters. It might be that, hey, Columbia's a little bit better than everybody gives them credit for. But Camden does come out on the winning end. And oh, by the way, we talked about this last week too. Brunswick didn't get that opportunity to work out any kinks. Brunswick was sitting at home last Friday night watching people play. There is some advantages to that. We talked a little bit about that last week, but give us your take on this big one down there in Camden County, Kevin.
Kind of hard one to read, because quite frankly, Camden maybe not as impressive as you thought they might be, but of course they did win the ball game,
right?
Something they did not do last year. So from that standpoint, they're ahead of the game, if you will. Brunswick maybe wasn't the Brunswick team that I expected to see in the preseason scrimmage, but kind of struggled a little bit at times and show some flashes of what we think they would be. But I learned a long time ago, Shawn, going back to the 1990 season. And speaking of Brunswick High, that was the best team ever they had, and they didn't look impressive at all in an old school jamboree where 3 or 4 teams got together. I think that was in Hinesville, if I remember correctly. I think Camden was there, Liberty was there, maybe. Didn't look good at all, but of course went on to play for the state championship. So, no live, special teams. They played 2 different teams, McIntosh and Savannah Christian, for a quarter. So really kind of hard to get into any rhythm there. I don't know if Camden will ever schedule Columbia again, Shawn. I mean, some battles, but the good thing about it is Columbia is willing to come down there and play them. They buy them out. I don't know the financial situation there. And it's hard for Camden to get games, and this is a tough matchup in week 1. So maybe they will stick with it. But I know last year Camden, lost that ball game, low-scoring game, didn't play well really at all on offense. Columbia kept the ball from them a good bit of that ball game, and the referees allowed them to do that, according to Coach Herron, by not really starting that 40-second play clock, right on time. So they were able to milk a lot of time off that clock. But that game the other night, Shawn, again, looked shaky at halftime. Camden down 6-0, but they turn it on and win that ball game 23-12. Got some offense going, continue to play good defense, and I think we're pretty sound on special teams. And they had a throwing touchdown in there. The Daly kid, I think scored their first touchdown running the football. But Camden looked like a lot better team last year when they played Brunswick in week 2 than they did in week 1. Lost a tough one between the bricks at Glenn County Stadium, 16-10. I don't know. They did have a chance to work out their kinks, in that game. Brunswick going to be playing for the first time. So if they make those typical, first game mistakes, if you will, could be enough to get them beat in this ball game if Camden is able to clean up those same kind of mistakes. So Camden, you mentioned having circled, people having this game circled. I know Camden has. They've been waiting on Brunswick for 365 days, and it should be an electric atmosphere down there in Kingsland Friday night.
Yeah, it should be a good one. That's one I'll be keeping tabs on for sure on Friday night. But Kevin, let's take a quick break. We'll come back here with some more game previews for that will be for 8:25. Stick around. You're watching On Air with 912 Sports.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Welcome back, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Spoke. He's Kevin Price. We were talking about the big games coming up this Friday night, 8:25 here in the 912. And Kevin got a little crossing the state line here in our next game we're going to talk about. Yulee, Florida is going to come up and take on Charlton. Charlton lost a game that they probably could have won if they make a play here or make a play there this past Friday night to Jeff Davis. But like I said, we'll see if Charlton can get it turned around and put one in the W column on Friday night. Clinch County was big winners over to, this past Friday night, beat Berrien. I believe that final score was 35-14. So Clinch got a lot of offense on the board there against Berrien. So they got to go on the road this Friday night to take on Macon County. So we'll see what that's all about. Macon County usually has a pretty strong football team, so we'll see if Clinch can get it done. And then the next game we're going to talk about in depth, Kevin, is Bainbridge at Coffee. This is a game that the Coffee Trojans lost last year on the road over there in Bainbridge, and evidently Bainbridge is for real. I've talked to a couple of coaches, and they've talked to the coach at Bainbridge, and he says by far this is the best team he's ever had. So it was definitely on display last Friday night. They beat Elka, which is always, Kevin, we know is a big power here in the state. Beat them 55-3. So Bainbridge is definitely for real. But hey, listen, Coffee looked good against Tiff as well, winning that game 38-13. So I think in Jardine Stadium on Friday night, it is going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, no question. Should be a real intense game, physical game. Both of these teams going to get after each other pretty good. Again, Bainbridge won that game last year, 24-21, beating Coffee, and two impressive victories by both teams in week one. You alluded to the big win by Bainbridge over Eagles Landing Christian. Just a single-A school, but a really good one at that, and have always had a lot of talent. Blew them out 55-3.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Coffee with the 38-13 win over Tiff. But, we've talked about it before, Sean, for the last several years. Bainbridge not afraid to play anybody. I mean, they've maybe had one of the toughest schedules in the state amongst, teams in any classification for the last several years, largely because of these kinds of non-region matchups and, not afraid to come, over here to Southeast Georgia from Southwest Georgia to play some of the better teams over here in the 912, and they're certainly going to get that with Coffee. But both teams will have good running backs. I think Bainbridge had a kid named Keenan Phillips who scored 3 touchdowns the other night, all in the first half. And then Fred Brown for Coffee came out with a nice debut, 234 yards, I think, on 27 carries. So both teams going to have their work cut out stopping the primary rusher for both ball clubs.
Yeah, and that Brown kid, if you're a defensive back or a linebacker, you got to make a business decision in the fourth quarter to tackle him, because I'm going to tell you, he is a load. So look for big things. But that's one of those games you kind of wish you could clone yourself, Kevin, and be at that one and Camden, because they're going to be two terrific, I think, high school football games here coming up Friday night right here in the second week. But we'll move on. We got Burke at Effingham. Burke coming off of big winners. Burke, that's where Franklin Stevens, who was a former Ware County coach, he moved, left McEachern, went and took over the Burke job. And then also he beat Thompson on Friday night. That's a 2A state championship from last year. And that's Michael Youngblood, who was his defensive coordinator at Ware. So I got a couple of old Gators going at it there that's this past Friday night. But Burke's got to go on the road to Effingham, play John Ford and his bunch. Nate Hayes, we've already talked about Nate. He's in our book this, for the football issue, and a really, really smart kid, but not a lot of offense Friday night there. Effingham only able to get up 7 points on the board there this past Friday night. So they got to find some offense if they expect to beat Burke County. Going on over to the island, the there'll be another game under the Oaks, the second one in a week there, as Frederica's going to take on Tift area. Frederica with a big offensive output this past Friday night. I think they scored 50-something points. So they've got that offense rolling. They gave up 40-something too, so they kind of got to tighten up on the defensive side of the ball. But we'll see how Frederica fares against Tift area. And then the next game we're going to talk about, the opener for Pierce County, Kevin. Kind of like Brunswick, they didn't play this past Friday night, and they've got Jeff Davis coming into town. Jeff Davis coming off the big win over Charlton, but Pierce sitting there licking her chops, ready to get the season going. So look for a barn burner there in Bearville this Friday night.
Yeah, it's going to be the home opener, like you said, for Pierce, sitting out last week, so they'll be extra excited to get going after kind of watching the action from the sidelines last year. Beat Jeff Davis pretty good last year, 56-17. Of course, Jeff Davis, went 0-9. To start the year before getting a win in their final game against Sumter County. And Jeff Davis does look to be improved. They won another close ball game, 2 close ball games against Folkestone or Charlton County the last 2 years. Lost that one last year, I think, in overtime. Won this one 23-20. Pierce County, if you will, maybe in a little bit of a rebuilding mode, if there is such a thing, other than maybe reloading. But Jeff Davis may be the underdog in this one, particularly going on the road to play Pierce in their opening ball game at home. But 2 912 schools going at it in a non-region matchup, and should be fun over there in Bearville on Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for your Bear fan not to be looking for number one on Friday nights. I mean, because he's been Mr. Excitement for the last 4 years, and now he's playing on Saturday. So it'll be a little bit different feel there in Bearville, but I think Coach has got those guys rallied to ready to go and have a good season. So we'll see what shakes out. But hey, let's take another quick break, and we'll be right back here with more On Air with 912 Sports.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Welcome back, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke. He's Kevin Price, and we're going to finish up all the games slated for 8:25 here in the 912. But, Kevin, we're going to start off with Glenn at McIntosh. This kind of looks like a mismatch on paper. You got a big 6A school going down to play a single A school, but you were there last week. You saw what Glenn was able to do to get that big victory over Statesboro this past Friday night. So tell us a little bit about the Glenn Academy team.
Well, Glenn, first of all, was a little handcuffed offensively. They did win the ball game 21-0, but they played the game without Greg Peacock, their primary running back, who's a junior this year, but already has several major college offers. Kind of nursing the shoulder injury right now that's been lingering since the spring, so they're being a little cautious with him. Might see some action this week, but if so, I think it'll be limited still. They also, Sean, they knew that going into the week, but Willie Butler, their number 2 running back, who was also pretty good, went down with an injury, I think, late in Tuesday's practice. So all of a sudden they're, looking at shuffling up things in the backfield. They brought a Devontae Lang over from defense at linebacker. He started in the backfield, ran hard between the tackles, right around 70 yards, but maybe just doesn't have the game-breaking ability that Peacock would. And then I know Glenn, Coach Hidalgo, said we weren't able to run our Greg Peacock plays. Well, obviously they couldn't hand him the ball, but I think they have some special packages for him to get the ball to him in space and different things. So all that went out the window. But, an okay game offensively. They did what they had to do, but defense was the name of the game for Glenn on Friday night. They feel like they could have a good defensive team, several experienced players back. Peyton Parker He wears number 33. He probably had 33 tackles. He was all over the place at linebacker. So they're pretty solid on defense, and hopefully, if they're typical of a Coach Rock team, they're going to get even better. And Statesboro was throwing the ball around maybe a little more than they're accustomed to under their new coach, Coach Dobson, running that spread offense, threw 4 interceptions. That certainly didn't help their cause, but they'll get better. But, Glenn, rallied around their defense and did what they had to do offensively.
Right. Well, be a good one down in Darien this this Friday night. I know Darien loves when these big schools come down there. It's got to be a great game for them. So be an electric atmosphere down there at the Ship. But we'll move on. We got Long at Tatnall. Kevin, this is one of the surprises from this past Friday night. Long County lost to Toombs County, which, listen, Toombs County is a very good football team, but I just thought Long had kind of maybe turned the corner and would get a win there. Didn't work out for Long, so now they got to play Tatnall, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get one in the W column. Windsor Forest is going to go to New Hampstead. I think Kyle Hockman can go ahead and put this one down as a win. Windsor Forest has really struggled the last several years, and I don't look for much to change there. So New Hampstead with their home opener, they had a team scheduled, I think, from South Carolina or Florida to play them last week, and then 6 weeks out they decided they were going to cancel the contract, so left New Hampstead kind of sitting there without a game last Friday night. But they'll get a chance to get on the grass this Friday night and play Windsor Forest. But the next game we're going to talk about, Kevin, is Ware versus Richmond Hill. Two opposite ends of the spectrum here offensively for these two teams. Warewood, not a very good night, only scored 13 points on offense. They did win that game against Appleton 20-17, but 6 of those points were scored by the defense. So like I said, Richmond Hill was able to put up 34 points on a good help me out here. Who did they play? Effingham team, and only gave up 7. So it's going to be very interesting in Richmond Hill. I mean, before the season started and before last Friday happened, I would have had Ware as big favorites in this game, and I still got Ware as a favorite in this game. But it could be a little bit tougher sledding for the Gators than what they expected.
Well, they certainly got all they wanted last week.
Yeah, they did.
Out of Appling, big school, small school, and Appling, they're maybe not your typical AA team. They got some D1 talent, and certainly we are expecting big things out of them. And even though they lost that game to Ware, they went toe-to-toe with them and certainly had a chance. And I think that bodes well for what they're going to do when they play, kids their own size, so to speak. But, Ware could be in for another tough one. It's going to be on the road, I guess, at Richmond Hill. And, I was not surprised that Richmond Hill won. I was just surprised by the score last week. But they held a Effingham offense that started slow again. They started slow last year and ended up really hitting their stride and winning a lot of games to go into their finale in the regular season with a shot to win the region championship against Brunswick. And I thought they would, click a little better out of the gate this year. But, maybe they're just slow starters and still trying to figure things out. But, I think they will get it in gear there in Effingham. But Richmond Hill, put up some points, held a good offense, down. So that was a solid opening win for them. And, Ware County, probably has a little more talent across the board, or maybe a lot more than Effingham, in terms of depth and whatnot. But this is not going to be a cakewalk for the Gators with Richmond Hill, being at home and getting some confidence after that opening game last Friday.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of the better games in the, the 912 area. Like I said, beforehand, I would have thought Ware would have been big favorites going in this game, but not so much after watching the results from this past Friday night. So we'll see how things shake out over in Richmond Hill this Friday night. That moves us on to South Effingham at Islands. South Effingham lost a heartbreaker, Kevin, to Vidalia. Lauren Purvis, the new coach there at South Effingham, was in a position to get his first win there, and just couldn't stop the 2-point conversion. And Vidalia was able to come away winners in that game. But now they get another chance here playing Islands. They do have to go on the road to play that game. So we'll see how the South Effingham Mustangs travel. And then we got a battle of the Bullock County there, Kevin. We got Southeast Bullock, which was big winners over Liberty this past Friday night, going to play Statesboro. You got a little guy versus a big guy here as far as classifications go. And Statesboro, coming off that loss to Glen Academy didn't put any points on the board. So we'll see how that one shakes out. But that'll be a very interesting game around the Statesboro area this Friday night as Southeast Bullitt goes into Statesboro. And then the last game we want to talk about, Kevin, is Brooks at Wayne. Wayne coming off a big 49-20 win over Brad Institute. Brooks kind of maybe in a rebuilding year this year, Kevin. Lost to Thomasville by a final score of 42-20. So we'll see if Brooks can bring the hammer over to Wayne and see what they can get done. But listen, I think Wayne showed everything they needed to this past Friday night, putting up 49 points. If you're going to play with Wayne, you're going to have to score points in order to in order to beat him.
Yeah, first of all, Shawn, let's go back to that Southeast Bullock Statesboro game. I think that game is part of that annual Ert Russell Classic. So
That's
we'll
right.
be played on the big stage in Paulson Stadium. And just on a side note, Ert Russell does need to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. The guy is world famous, not just famous in the South. But I think if they put him on the ballot, it would be pretty doggone close to unanimous.
I would think so. And why he's not on the ballot is ridiculous.
Yeah, but anyway, Shawn, let me get off that train. And, Brooks and Wayne, it's going to be in Jessup this year. They went over and played them in Quitman last year. Brooks may be a little bit down compared to what they've been being. They're always tough. They're always physical. They get that from their head coach, Maurice Freeman. So this, Wayne will have to buckle their chin straps and come to play. But again, somebody that likes to do that on both sides of the ball is the Fuller kid. A big game for him. He's probably going to have several big games for Wayne County this year. Might not have to ride him like they did last year to the state quarterfinals, but still he's a D1 commit, and he showed everything that he's made of. We're going to feature him in an upcoming issue of our magazine as well. So, look forward to that. And, he just sounds like a heck of a football player on both sides of the ball. But, this Wayne team, starting off well right after a great finish last year under Coach Jay Beaushaw, and we both expect more good things out of Jessup, and those good things, as much as I like Maurice Freeman, could come at his expense this week.
Look for Wayne to keep that train rolling. The Wayne train, as they say, I think they'll be 2-0 after Friday night. But folks, thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. That's going to wrap it up for the week, the games of the week of 8/25. Stick around. We've got more On Air with 912 Sports right after these messages.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.